Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an Airbus pilot, and welcome back to our FSLabs Airbus A321neo. Today we're going to correct a long time mistake from this channel. That is, we've done lots of flight out of Boston, but we've barely done any flights into Boston. So today we are flying from Porto in northern Portugal over to Boston Logan International Airport. At this moment, just a quick word over here. This is one of the typical routes that an A321neo would operate. Much too few passengers to do this with typical wide-body aircraft like an A330. But then again, still a viable option to fly with some 150 to 170 passengers, which actually is the configuration that TAP has on their aircraft. I believe it's 171. Now, with that much out of the way, let's go ahead and get right into it after a quick message from today's sponsor, Sane Tensions AI. If you're looking for an ATC add-on that can not only do your standard IFR A to B flight, but that can also do different things like data link, like VFR, like traffic, and even like a cabin crew simulation. And if you like what you're going to hear in today's video, then check them out using the link in the video description below. And with all of that out of the way, let's get right into today's flight and right on board our A321. So we'll be flying from the captain's seat again today, and we can see our aircraft has already been pre-fueled to a certain extent. Scheduled off block is in 22 minutes, so I suppose we're going to get right into it. And the very first thing I will do over here, except for smashing my MCDU into my microphone, is that we are gonna go down into the ATC menu. Actually, that's wrong. ATSU AOC menu. In it, we're going to wait until our flight number appears, and here it is, and then we can do the initializing data request. Now, we'll wait until that has finished, and here it is. Then we go into the crew details, make sure 330 driver is the captain, and then we'll have a co-pilot as well. Alright, and then we go to boarding, and I just quickly want to order our catering services over here. So catering is ordered. Now let's go into the OFP data, and that is where things get more interesting because we need to enter the block fuel, which means we gotta have a look into our electronic flight back over here. So let's get started on the briefing package by reviewing our flight plan. We'll start down here with the weather maps, and we can see that our route is a fairly straightforward one. Now, if this would actually be moving somewhat, I could show you proper flight plan. So, departing Porto, and then it's more or less westbound course all the way over. We're crossing two nuts on the way here, which is not going to be a problem because we are flying really low in our A321neo, so we'll be below any of the traffic over here. Well, and that's the entirety of the route. Now for the actual flight itself, we are going to cross this area of low-level icing, so absolutely nothing to be expected at our cruise level. And then on the other end side, things are getting a little more interesting, crossing this area over here, and that is marked with a number 1, so we are looking at moderate turbulence. Let's say about 4.5 hours into the flight until about 5.5 hours into the flight. And then there's only low-level stuff again, so it's just this little turbulent area over here for our flight. If we look into the weather, then we can see that Porto has very good weather conditions here. Clear skies, cavalcade, wonderful. And our destination in Boston, a little bit of gusts, but apart from that, the weather and the forecast are very good. And our alternate in Rhode Island is excellent as well. Okay, so with that, we can have a look into our flight plan. And starting at the very top, an on-time departure means an arrival an hour ahead of schedule. I don't know how we are doing it that quickly, but it's true. Okay, cruising in flight level 320, we are far away from any of the limiting weights up here, and then we can have a look into our fuel section, and honestly we don't need much extra today, so 17.5, 200, add them together, 18 tons, that's all we need. So for the block fuel, 18,000, and that's going to be via GSX. OFP is number 1, zero fuel weight is checked, scheduled time of departure is checked, send the data. And that's it. And with that we can go back into the boarding page, because now it's filled out the data based on our GSX data as well. And as soon as catering is complete, so let's say at 45, they can start the boarding down here as well. Alright, we'll hit request, and that's it. Now that much for our initial data link setup. While we're on it, let's also get our departure airport data. So that's requested. And then let's just have a look. We've got a slot at 1713. I think that will work pretty well. Then load sheet. We're on the Charlie X-ray Tango X-ray Alpha. Yeah, that's correct. 2 pilots, 5 cabin crews. Porto to Boston, and 0 fuel weight's looking good. Takeoff fuel is looking good. Takeoff weight is looking good. But look at that. Maximum takeoff weight in this aircraft is just 98 tons. Actually 89 tons. So that's a little bit below the actual structural limit of the aircraft, but that's just because of the way how TAP registered the airplane, because they would never fly it above that weight anyway. Okay, that means we are 4,800 kilos underload, 167 passengers expected. Portable water is at 100% down here. And our catering will be full. And 18,000 kilos of fuel ordered. Okay, we can accept this, and then back to the weather data. That's looking okay. QNH 1016. Wonderful. Cool. So that's our initialization complete, so that all our services are now going. And then let's start with the preliminary cockpit preparation. Engine master levers are off. Mode select on norm. The weather radar is turned off. Landing gear lever down, wipers off, battery voltages are checked, external power is connected. Then ADIRs 1, 2 and 3 coming on. Let's do the APU fire test. And I tell you what, it's 21 degrees outside, so let's go ahead and get the APU running. Because with only a few clouds at the sky and the sun shining onto our white aircraft, that thing is going to heat up. So, starting the APU. Okay, with that out of the way, our cockpit lights are basically set. I will keep them up a little bit because we're flying right into the sun for the entire flight, so we'll just keep them like they are. Then for our radio setup, let's go ahead and go down here, Navigraph. Let's just get a couple of basic frequencies here. So, Porto delivery 1893. Is going active, and then we'll have ground 12104. Okay, the ATIS is on 12168. And I think that's all we need. Cool, so we'll make sure we listen to VHF1, VHF2 and the interphone. Make sure that the speaker is somewhat turned up. And then we can walk right over into our EFB setup. So, APU is avail, wonderful, lead on. Okay, so over into the EFB, and we'll start up here. We already have our briefing, we already have our chart, so let's do the preliminary takeoff data next. So we'll keep the automatically uplink numbers. 84 tons looks good as well, and we're departing runway 35. Let's calculate Charlie Hotel and hit calculate. I tell you what, we can actually take the full length. Let's calculate that again. We're so close to the full length. So config 2, flex 52, 85 meter stop margin, and performance limiting is going to be the maximum takeoff weight today. So 99.7 is the performance limit, but the structural limit is 89. So that's the highest we can take today. Pretty high takeoff speeds, but that's kind of expected for a transatlantic flight in a narrow body. And that's it. Now let's go for the aircraft's technical acceptance, and that's going to be a recall for 3 seconds. Like this, and there's nothing in here. And now comes the really interesting thing. That's going to be our logbook, because this airplane has a little bit of a fault history. First of all, we do have one item in the mail, and that's the tray table at 3 Bravo, slants and in poor condition, still usable and secures upright. Okay, the latter is the important thing. Can they secure the table? Yes, they can. And apart from that, they probably just didn't have the time to repair it, so that's why they put it onto the hold item list. Now, what's interesting on this particular airplane though is the fault history. You can see it's had a forward right door proximity sensor fault, and it's also had an hydraulic pump B overheat, which only was a fault warning though. So that's some stuff to keep in mind. They've resolved them both, but this is still fairly current on this airplane, so we should have that in mind, that this stuff can happen. Well, and that's our technical condition. Apart from that, we've got an A321-200 with a CFM LEAP 1A engines. Automatic nav on go-around is installed, soft go-around is installed. And apart from that, the obvious things, such as the D-rames, not worth talking about. Okay, so no OEBs, and with that our airplane is accepted for service. Then let's see, oxygen, well, isn't quite full, but is absolutely okay for what we want to do today. Hydraulics are okay, engine, oil quantity is okay. And the flaps are up and agree with the levers, ball is retracted. Let's test the alternate brakes, parking brake release. Kick the brakes. Only get 500 psi here, that's maybe a little bit too little, should get some more. But okay, setting the brake again. And interestingly enough, this always disconnects the external power. Don't know why it's doing that, it's got to be a bug. But let's bring the external power back online, because it saves a little bit of fuel. Alright, and with that our aircraft is accepted for service, so our colleague can go out for the walk around, and then we are going to start our work up here on the cockpit preparation procedure. Not much to say about this. Okay, battery test working just fine. Fuel pumps, we'll keep them off while we're still refueling. Fire test, engine 1 is good. And fire test, engine 2 is good. So up here everything's set. We probably won't have any temperature sensitives in the cargo hold. That's fine. Aft overhead is set. So QNH 1016 is set. Up here everything's set. It's the 22nd of June 25. Transponder 1 standby above, altitude reporting on, squawk 2000. That's good. Weather radar is set. Okay, thrust levers idle, master levers off, mode selector norm, parking brake set. And transponder is checked already, and then we can get right into the FMS. Now, for the setup, I will be using my WinWing MCDU, but I will be talking about what I'm doing while I'm doing it so that you guys can follow along. So let's go into the FMGC. A321-200 LEAP 1A engine, nav database up to date. We'll delete any of that previous stuff, and then we'll check and remove those scratchpad messages. Init page has already been uplinked and is matching the flight plan. Then flight plan, Porto, departure 35, and we're going via the Ubani to Whiskey departure. In Boston, at the moment, they have planned, I think it's 27. We'll see about if we're actually going to do that or not. Ocean 5 arrival, and that's without any transition. We're coming straight onto a waypoint of the arrival. Okay, insert. Now, secondary flight plan, copy active. Oppo X2, and that's going to be LPPR35 slash, what's the runway track? 351 slash 25, and we can store that instead of holding over there, and then in immediate return back to Porto. RNAV approach 35, no star, no via, and here we go. Now let's insert that on the fixed page as well. Porto 35, 351, and then we need the Oppo X2. Okay, cool. Now for the data page, pilot routes, we'll call this Oppo Boss. Store. And now let's cross-check. So we're departing runway 35 on the Ubani 2 Whiskey departure. Direct Mimbo, direct Bana, direct 42 north 20 west, 43 north 30 west, 44 north 40 west, 45 north 50 west, Rafin, November 76 Alpha to Nanzo, November 82 Alpha Cani, direct Euro, and from there we'll join the arrival. And with that the route is checked, and on the flight plan we got 2,766 miles versus 2,769 miles. That is more than close enough. Alright, so then let's go over to the init page, and we should have a load sheet already, so let's have a look into that. Load sheet 66.4 and 26.4. So 18 tons of fuel, and then let's see, contingency 0.5, alternate 0.8, and final 1. Okay, the rest is looking good. Then onto the performance page. And we've got conf 2, 52 degrees. And the speeds will be, let's see, 85 meters stop margin, that's fine. So 165, 165, 165. Alright, thrust reduction, acceleration. In Portugal they normally want noise abatement 1, as far as I remember, so we'll insert that. 1700 engine out acceleration, no takeoff shift, nothing over here. LPPR 3, oh, that was one too many. 3.5. So cruising 320, optimum 325, maximum 355. That looks very good to me. Well, and with that we are almost done. Let's go into the ATC com page. So, connection status, ADSC is armed, message record is erased, and the only last thing that we'd have to check is that auto position reports are off, but unfortunately that's not simulated, so with that we are done with our ATSU. Okay, so that stuff is in. We don't have any, any step climbs on today's flight, so that way we are basically done with our MCDU. So 1016 constraints, plan, initial climb is level 100 on this one. Then let's just quickly cross-check our SID. So, straight at Udrup above 3000, left turn Ubani above 100. That's what I call easy. And we've got Udrup above 3000, and then left Ubani above 100. Yeah, that's about as easy as it gets. Ground from flight deck. Mind your ears, oxygen test. Okay. Both of them are working fine. So that's looking very good so far. Refueling is completed down here. And then we can say hello to our passengers. Or how far are they? Let's see, are they still loading bags down there? Oh yeah, they just started. Okay, I'll tell you what, in that case, let's start with the briefing instead. So, departing Porto, runway 35, Ubani 2 Whiskey departure, initial climb level 100, MSA on the seaside is 2000. Now, for our fuel, we got 23 minutes extra in the form of 1000 kilos. No hotspots for our taxi routing, it's going to be fairly straightforward. Stop margin in case of rejected 85 meters plus TAS effect. Engine out sits straight at 25 miles, Oppo X2 climbing and holding in 4000, and then we can come back for an RMP approach from A35 here in Porto. We will be overweight, so we have to do the overweight landing checklist. So let's just bring that up already so that we've got it if we need it. So overweight landing, here it is. Most important point of the entire thing is that point, packs 1 and 2 off or supplied by APU, aka we will turn on the APU as long as there was no engine fire. Turn on the APU, turn on APU bleed, and that's it. In general though, I don't want to rush anything, so the only thing that would make me make an immediate re-landing is an unextinguishable fire, okay? Anything else we don't worry about, we just continue into the holding, take our time, work the checklist, and then come back. Any questions? No? Nice, so that's our briefing complete. I've got nothing special on non-standard here. So, cockpit preparation checklist, please. Gear pins and covers, removed. Fuel quantity, 17,970 kilogram balanced. Seatbelts on, ADRs. Nav, Baroref, QNH 1016. Cockpit preparation checklist complete. Now here's something we didn't do before. Or that we forgot to do before, that way around. That's cross-checking our oceanic waypoints. So, after Bana we have 42 north, 20 west, 43 north, 30 west, 44 north, 40 west, 45 north, 50 west. And Rafin, that's all looking correct. Now let's just check that we have the correct coordinates. So you can see 4220 actually equals 42 north, 20 west. And we're going to check this on all of those waypoints separately, because we really need to be sure that they are all correct. And they are. Okay, beautiful. So, with that in mind, let's do the NAT-HLA guideline. Aircraft acceptance, ETOPS PDSC, checked. RBSM equipment, checked. Clock in GPS mode, checked. HF, checked. Message log, erased. ADSC armed. ATC auto position reports, off. Iris full alignment, performed. Ground speed, checked. NAT-HLA waypoints on OFP versus primary flight plan, cross-checked. Wind data. Keep forgetting about that because it uplinks automatically in the Phoenix. It doesn't do in the real world, by the way. Or actually, not in the Phoenix, but in the INI builds. And well, we are of course normally flying long haul with INI builds Airbuses. So that stuff's done. Then we are still waiting for our boarding to complete. Let's actually have a look at how far they are. Services, 162 passengers on board, so it's just the cargo that we're waiting on. Excellent. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning from the flight deck. My name is Emmanuel in the name of Air Portugal. Welcome aboard our Airbus A321LR on our flight to Boston. We are just loading the last pieces of cargo, then we will start our engine in a matter of the next few minutes. Today's flight time will be about 6.5 hours. We do expect an on-time arrival, even if we depart a couple minutes late here in Porto today. We do expect a smooth flight and nice en route weather, but for the time being, just sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight with us. And if there is anything we can do for you to make it more comfortable, please do not hesitate to ask any of our charming cabin crew. Thank you for your attention, and again, welcome on board. Okay, wind data uplink is here. And that's looking very good. So let's see, with that we still have 28 minutes of extra fuel on board. Lovely. Okay, so let's go for our clearance. And the fuel report is here as well, 3894. And that gives me a difference of 0.2. That's okay, send. Okay. Atus, no information. That's because FSLabs just can't read the say intentions Atus, unfortunately. There's no problem. Atus, PDC, So we are GAP 227. I'll just put info alpha in here then, and we're at gate Sierra 11. Alright, send. Let's see if data link clearance works here, otherwise we'll have to grab ourselves voice clearance, which is not going to be a problem either. Oh, low cheat. And it's in compliance, very good. So let's just see, 66 and 25.2. Alright, so we have 400 lighter. That's because we're missing a couple passengers, nice. 83.8, that's okay within any limits, and takeoff CG 22, so we're somewhere over here, so trim is like 1.9 up. Okay, takeoff data is checked. And just to be 100% sure, this is looking okay. 3.5 full length, calculate. 2, this one sets up 1.5. Yeah, but that's because the takeoff CG is not entirely accurate. Okay, I'm happy with that data. Alright. So, have we gotten a clearance? No. Okay, no problem. Then we'll just get it by voice. Porto delivery, Air Portugal 227, information alpha, request IFR clearance to Boston.
I'll have your clearance in just a second.
Okay, no need to scream. So, prepare for pushback and departure.
Air Portugal 227, information alpha is current. Cleared to Boston via the U-2 Romeo departure runway 17. Initial climb to 5,000 feet. Departure on 120.91 squawk 2246.
Air Portugal 227, is runway 35 available? Because that would significantly shorten our taxi routing.
Air Portugal 227, runway 35 is available for departure.
Air Portugal 227, request runway 35.
Air Portugal 227, climb altitude 8500 feet.
Air Portugal 227, request IFR clearance for runway 35. I'm not going to climb to 8,500 feet here. Not sure why it understood that. I'm looking into the message log here.
I am working on that clearance. Stand by.
I'm looking in the message log here, and instead of request runway 35, it understood request to climb 8,500 feet. Well, it gave us that clearance, but, yeah.
Air Portugal 227, information alpha is current. Cleared to Boston via the U-2 Whiskey departure runway 35. Initial climb to 5,000 feet, departure on 120.91 squawk 2246.
Air Portugal 227, cleared to Boston, runway 35, Urbani to Whiskey departure, climb 5,000 feet. Departure 120.901, squawk 2246. Okay, 35, Urbani to
Air
Whiskey.
Portugal 227, read back correct. Ground will be on 121.04.
121.04, Air Portugal 227. Okay, so Urbani to Whiskey is confirmed. 5,000 feet is in here. Departure 12091. And squawk 2246.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard TAP Air Portugal Flight 227, departing from Porto to Boston. We are thrilled to have you with us today. Please take your seats according to your boarding
Okay, so that's all
passes and stow
tracked.
your hand
Now the
luggage in
only
the
question
overhead bins
is,
or under the seats in front of
why
you.
do we get
If you need any assistance, don't
the
hesitate
forward
to
right
reach out to
cabin
our
door?
friendly crew members.
Why is that still
Myself,
open?
Astrid, along with my colleagues Lars, Ingrid and Bjorn. Oh, and just a quick note. On June 28th and 29th, our Say Intentions cabin crew will be at the Flight Sim Expo
Hey
in
Astrid,
Providence,
are you here?
so feel free to come and chat with us there.
No, that
Thank
was
you,
the wrong
and
button.
enjoy your flight.
Hey Astrid, are you here?
Hey, Emmanuel, I am here.
Thank you. We get a door open indication on the forward right door. Could you check that it is closed?
Yes, Captain, I'm here. Everything is going smoothly with boarding. Just a few more passengers to get settled in. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard TAP Air Portugal
Yeah, just
Flight
sit down
227,
please and check that the
departing
door is
from Porto to
closed.
Boston. We are thrilled to have you with us today. Please take your seats according to your boarding passes and stow your hand luggage in the overhead bins or under the seats
So
in
could you
front
please
of
check that the forward right door is closed?
Okay, Captain, I'll check the forward right door right away. Ladies and
Okay.
gentlemen,
I mean,
welcome aboard TAP Air Portugal
yeah,
Flight
come
227,
on, no need to
departing
repeat that
from
all
Porto to
over.
Boston. We are thrilled to have you with us today.
I have a
Please take your
feeling I
seats
know
according
what's
to your boarding
happening
passes
here.
and stow your hand luggage in the overhead
See,
bins
tech
or
log
under
fault
the seats in
history
front of
seems
you.
to be exactly this
If you
one.
need any assistance,
Forward right door,
don't
proximity
hesitate to
sensor
reach out to our
fault.
friendly crew members.
Forward right cabin or
Myself,
proximity sensor
Astrid,
fault. Door
along with
indicates
my
open in
colleagues Lars,
cockpit.
Ingrid,
Slide
and
arming is
Bjorn.
operative.
Thank you, and
Level
enjoy
1
your
and
flight.
raised and spares ordered. So no idea what they did, but it is dispatchable here. So Mel 520701A. Let's have a look into that. Docs. Mel. Entries. So 52. Wait a moment, we're in the wrong chapter. 52. Oh yeah, that looks like it. Cabin door permanently indicated open on door, oxygen SD page. So we're not a CO, we're a NEO. So let's have a look. Repairable C, that means they have 10 days to fix it. 6 of them are installed, 0 are required, no placard required. 1 or more may be permanently indicated open when actually closed, provided that the associated door is visually checked to be closed and locked before each flight. And the white slide arm light on the associated door does not come on when the door is closed and locked and the slide arming lever is in the armed position. Astrid? Where is she?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard TAP
No,
Air
not
Portugal
again.
Flight
Come on.
227, departing from Porto to Boston.
Astrid, are you here?
We are
It
thrilled
would
to
be
have you
rather
with us
important
today.
right now. A
Please
little bit
take
more
your
important
seats
than
according
just
to your
those
boarding passes
cabin
and stow your
announcements.
hand luggage in the overhead bins or under the seats in front of you. If you need any assistance, don't hesitate to reach out to our friendly crew members. Myself, Astrid, along with my colleagues Lars, Ingrid and Bjorn. Thank you and enjoy your flight. Yes, Captain, I'm here. What do you need me to do?
Okay, thank you. Looks like the forward door indication is inoperative. We can dispatch via the MEL, but could you please visually check that the door is closed and locked? And that the white slide arm light on the associated door does not come on when the door is closed and locked. Come on.
Okay, Captain. I'll check the forward door right away to ensure it's closed and blocked. I'll let you know if everything is in order.
Alright, thank you. If we don't hear from you, then we expect it to work, okay? So, references refer to ops procedure.
Okay, Captain, I'll keep an eye on it. Everything should be fine.
520701 Alpha. Cabin door permanently indicated open door oxygen SD page, slide arm light operative. Let's go to that. What do we have here? So that's the correct procedure, applicable to the NEO as well. If cabin doors are affected, the time recorded in the ACAS movement report may be wrong. Therefore, the OE times are potentially corrupted and the crew is required to note the actual off-block airborne landing and on-block times on the OFP. After engine start, in case of false door alert, emergency cancel push button press. Note the limitation, max flight level 100, Mea Mora remains displayed on the status SD page. Before takeoff, caution, the takeoff config PB must be maintained pressed to check that there is no alert. Takeoff config PB press. In the memo, the takeoff config normal line will not replace the takeoff config test line. Consider normal configuration for takeoff provided that no alert was displayed during the config test. Okay, we'll leave this one open. And I think then we can dispatch with this. Okay, that's fine. So we've got 11 minutes of delay now because of that lovely sensor. Well, that's aviation, guys. That's aviation. That's how it works. Okay, let's get our pushback clearance. Porto ground, Air Portugal 227, request pushback and startup. Slot was at 13, so we still have 11 minutes. We should be able to do that.
Air Portugal 227, pushback and startup approved. Face west.
Pushback and startup approved, facing west, Air Portugal 227. Before start checklist. Park and brake. Set, takeoff speeds and thrust. V1 165, VR 165, V2 165, flex 52. Windows. Closed. Beacon on. Before start checklist complete. Ground from flight deck. Pushback approved, facing west, park and brake set. Okay, release park and brake, please. And let's actually do nose. Well, technically speaking, nose left. Let's see what's going to happen. Okay, park and brake is released, you're clear to push, and we're standing by for Yoke clearance to start the engines. And I just want to see for myself if the door is closed. I don't want to trust the flight attendant here.
Emmanuel, the cabin is ready for departure.
Thank you. And I've heard enough, you can do that stuff in the background there. Okay, we're clear of the red line. It's probably a short pushback, so starting engines 1 and 2 in sequence. Engine 1 start. Alright, man, that was busy once again. The slot is running for another 9 minutes. Need to be airborne latest 23 as far as I remember. Let's check. Yeah, 17:13. You can be airborne within 5 minutes before, up to 10 minutes behind the slot. And if you miss that window, well, talk to ATC. A few minutes usually won't matter. They just tell you fly a bit faster. At least in countries like these. Don't try to do that in Germany or the UK. Okay, pushback complete, set brakes. Brake set, and we've got a good starting 1, starting 2. Clear 2. And that's how you get under time pressure. That's how everything, let's just say, has a potential to get disrupted. So you got to be really careful when doing something like this, but it's everyday life in European summer operation. The time pressure from the slots is always there. Okay, door, right forward cabin, clear door. We'll get back to that later. Entry move status. We want to view the engine start first. Okay, ground, we have 2 good engine starts. You're clear to disconnect. Show me the pin on the right hand side and have a good day. Bye bye. So, trim up 1.9. Like this. Okay. So, clear signal is received. Then let's do the MEL. So, after engine start, in case of false door alert. And that's what we have over here. So, emergency cancel, push button press. That's cancelled. And note the limitation, max level 100 Miyamura remains displayed on the status SD page. Don't even have that for the moment. And right forward cabin is cancelled. We'll talk a little bit more about what exactly these MEL items are doing once we're in flight. Of course, we gotta catch that slot. And then before takeoff config PB, that is known. Okay, looks good. So, after start, checklist please. Anti-ice, off, ecom starters, checked, pitch trim, 1.9 up, rudder trim, neutral, after start checklist complete. So, flight control checks please. Full up, full down, neutral, full left, full right, neutral rudder, full left, full right, and neutral. Air Portugal 227, request taxi.
Air Portugal 227, runway 27 is not available. Taxi to runway 17 via Bravo, Sierra 2, Sierra 4, Sierra 6, Echo 1A, Echo 2, Echo 3, Echo 4.
Air Portugal 227, request taxi to runway 35. Because that is what you cleared me for. Looking
Air
into
Portugal
the
227, taxi to runway 35 via Bravo, cross runway 35 at your discretion.
taxi runway 35 via Bravo, Air Portugal 227. It's really interesting. Looking into the voice log, it understood request taxi to runway 27 earlier. Clear right side, clear left side. Brake check. Pressure 0. Okay. Takeoff briefing does remain unchanged. Oh god, yeah. Give me that one. That's fine. So the takeoff briefing remains unchanged and wonderful, cabin ready. So, takeoff PB press, and the line is not going to replace. Configuration will be normal, provided that no alert was displayed during the config test. Okay, so config test.
Air Portugal 227, contact tower on 118.005. Have a good evening.
118.005, Air Portugal 227.
Air Portugal 227, runway 3.
Porto Tower, Air Portugal 227, we are not ready yet. Alright, so takeoff config, yeah, does not replace
Air
the
Portugal
line.
227, Porto
That's
Tower,
okay.
roger.
But
Let
the
me know when
config
you're
can
ready.
be considered. Good. Okay, so taxi checklist. Flight controls checked. Flap setting, config 2, radar and predictive wind shear are on and auto. Engine start selector, norm, ecom memo. Takeoff 1 blue. And that's attentional. Okay, taxi checklist complete. Air Portugal 227 ready for departure. Still have 2.5 minutes for the slot, easy going, but we gotta be airborne by 23.
Air Portugal 227, runway 35, winds 350 at 5, cleared for takeoff.
Runway 35, clear for takeoff, Air Portugal 227. Coming through, prepare for departure.
Approaching 3-5.
Lineup checklist. Takeoff runway, 35 full length, and we're clear on the approach. TCAS, Tara, PAX 1 and 2, off, lineup checklist complete. Okay, did we forget anything? Is there anything we did not do? I don't think so. Okay, are you ready?
On runway
Takeoff.
35.
Manflex 5.2, SRS, auto thrust blue. Thrust set. .100 knots, checked. V1, rotate. Positive climb. Gear up. Nav. Check. So, airborne at 22.5. 30 seconds before the end of the slot.
Air Portugal 227, contact departure on 120.901.
120.901 Air Portugal 227. Porto departure Air Portugal 227, passing 2,500, climbing 5,000.
Air Portugal 227, Porto departure identified. Climb flight level 050.
Climb altitude 5,000, Air Portugal 227. That's not a flight level. Climb. Flaps 1. Speed checked. Flaps 1.
Air Portugal 227, climb flight level 210.
Air Portugal 227, climbing flight level 210 and stop screaming at me. 21,000 blue. Flap 0. Speed checked, flap 0. Okay. So that was a lot of work, but we are finally up and in the air. Set standard. Standard, cross check, passing flight level 42. Now. Autopilot 1. Alright, and with that, we finally made it. That was a particularly interesting one, let's call it that way. Let's just call it that way. Now a couple things to talk about. First of all, that procedure from the MEL over here. Well, first of all, just watch this. I mean, Portuguese landscape is beautiful, the airplane is beautiful. And I can tell you the landscape over here is really beautiful in the real world as well. I did go on holidays in this area once and it was really quite nice. Must have been somewhere over here. Yeah, down here. I can see my holiday house. Okay, so enough of those things. Let's get straight back to business. So, that MEL and that operational procedure here. Why did we have to do it? So, the problem with our aircraft is that the sensor of the door is inoperative. It's not the door itself, the door works fine, it's only the sensor that's broken. You can see the cabin is pressurizing normally.
Air Portugal 227, climb and maintain flight level 260.
Air Portugal 227, climb and maintain flight level 260. Flight level 260 blue. Alright, lights off, let's release the cabin, and we'll do the rest a little bit later. So, you can see the cabin pressurizes, so the door itself is definitely okay. It's only a wrong indication that we have down here. However, we had that caution, door right, forward cabin, because obviously the airplane thinks the door is open. And that's why we also get the information that if you got an abnormal cabin vertical speed, which we just checked, which we don't have, then the maximum flight level would be 100 or the minimum en route altitude or the minimum off-route altitude. AKA, the airplane would assume that it's going to depressurize, therefore it would want you to descend. However, since we know that it's only a faulty sensor causing this, the MEL directs us to use the emergency cancel push button. And what that does is you can use this button, which is guarded and red, to basically cancel any caution. By using that, you prohibit the airplane from ever bringing that caution up again during this flight until the recall is pressed for several seconds. That's why we do it in the preliminary pre-flight procedure. That's why we press it several seconds. You can see now if I press recall, nothing happens. Only if I press and hold recall for several seconds, it should bring the alert back. Okay, that's a bug. In any case, we used emergency cancel to permanently disable this alert, because there is no way that this alert could prove useful to us during this flight anymore. So now, using the emergency cancel, it's gone, it's not going to come back.
132.85, Binter 28 Yankee Romeo.
And the second half of the MEL procedure down here, with the takeoff config test button, basically told us that the button needs to be maintained pressed to check that there is no alert. Because when you hold it down, when you hold the takeoff config push button down and keep it down, then the airplane would give you any immediate alert. When you release it again, then it would, well, not, because then it would just give you the green.
Air Portugal 227, climb and maintain flight level 320.
Air Portugal 227, climb and maintain flight level 320, and once again stop screaming at us. Okay, level 320 blue. Okay, yeah, so that's the entire procedure. That's all there is to it with this MEL item. And with all of that out of the way, let's do a clear and copy down here. So nothing in here, this one's copied. And then we got optimum 325, cruise 330, maximum 358. Well, let's see if there is any viable step climb. They didn't climb one,
5709er, contact Lisbon info on 132.85.
Let's give it some time to calculate.
Over to Lisbon info on 132.85.
So we basically save no time, but we use 100 kilos more fuel. No, we're not going to do that. Then we stay down here in flight level 320. It's a nice level after all. Okay, and that's everything I could do down here. So let's just enter the ETOPS points, and then we can already settle down for the flight. So, pilot waypoint, new waypoint, ETOPS entry point 1. That's at 4201.6. Well. And 1725.2. And we put that onto the latitude longitude up here. Format error. What did I mess up? So, north 4201.6 / west 01725.2. That's better. Okay, so Laches, that's Tango Echo Romeo and Yankee Yankee Tango. And that's going to be 4359.7. And west 3954.0.
Air Portugal 227, contact Lisbon on 127.255.
127.255, Air Portugal 227. Lisbon Air Portugal 227, passing level 192, climbing level 320.
Air Portugal 227, Lisbon Center, good evening.
That guy's talking a lot nicer, is he? Okay, so then we got the equal time point. Let's just do the ETOPS exit point then, and that's going to be 44.33.1. and 44.240. Here we go. So, fix info, ETOPS entry point 1, then we got the ETP and the ETOPS exit point 1, and that's it. Now, let's have a look, reaching Banal at 1802. Yeah, tell you what, let's do the oceanic request. So, AOC, ATC request, oceanic clearance with Santa Maria. Flight number TAP227, flight level 320, entry point is Banal, ETA 1802. Okay, so speed, this one's Mach 0.77 for pretty much the entire cruise. Arriving at 23:39, that's an hour early, so 0.77. Okay, and let's see, maximum flight level 350. Okay. So, Santa Maria, top 227, flight level 320, Mach 77, Banal at 1802 is all correct and sent. Good, and then we can just make sure to program this, so constant Mach 0.77 from Banal until Rafin. Okay, insert. Nice, and that's pretty much everything we need for the time being. Yeah, we can log on CPDLC. So connection notification LPPC and notify. Alright. Notified. And that's all I've got for you for the time being. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight across the Atlantic.
Portugal 227, Boston approach. Good evening, Boston, altimeter 29.88. Expect the ILS runway 33 left approach into Boston.
Expecting the ILS runway 33 left approach. Air Portugal 227.
Okay, ILS 33 left, and we are descending along the Ocean 5 arrival, which was our last ATC clearance. So let's have a look into the approach that we are going to fly into Boston today. It'll be an ILS approach on runway 33 left, and that's the one you can see over here. Now 33 left actually is one of the longest runways they have available at the airport, so that's not going to be a problem, and it's going to bring us straight to our gate. We're parking up here, so when we can vacate over here by November with roughly 2,000 meters of landing distance, that's going to be absolutely perfect. So auto brakes low it is going to be in order to achieve that goal. Apart from that, we've got basically nothing new. The status page still is the same thing that we had
United 333
beforehand,
contact Boston Center on 133.325.
Weather is kinda okay at the moment as well.
Over to Boston
Well,
Center.
so, with all of these things out of the way, let's go ahead and do the approach briefing to get you guys into the loop of what we're actually about to do. So we are following the Ocean 5 for an ILS 27, minimum 216. Go around is straight ahead and then right hand turn at 1500 feet to intercept the radial 030 outbound Boston BOR to Waxon, kilometer 3000. And extra fuel and time, we got 41 minutes in the form of 1,800 kilograms today. With that, let's go back to the captain's seat. So entering some clouds, temperature is far above 10, so no anti-ice needed. Okay, so, flight directors, ILS, config full. We'll be using 70-10 reverse because it is rather hot outside at up to 30 degrees. Yeah, so maximum reverse, auto brakes low, vacate the runway to the left side, and well, I'll tell you what, with those temperatures, let's actually leave the auto brake off. Well, that was two calls at the same time. I'm trying to make out if there was something involved for us there. But if it was, they're going to say it again. Okay, that's fine. We're happy. We're always happy. Cool. So, nothing special, nothing non-standard. Then let's do the 10,000 foot checks. Lights on, signs on, constraints, LS. And GPS primary, mode selector, norm, that's it. Very good, approach checklist please. Barrel ref, QNH 29088/1012. Seatbelts on, minimum baro 216, auto brake off, engine mode selector, norm, approach checklist complete. Easy going. So, Boston. Surprise, huh? One of those things I love about flying at this time of the year is that the sun stays up for so long. I mean, look down here, it's almost midnight UTC, and we are arriving just about within sunset. Now, where's the airport? I think down here. Slightly off our left, yeah, it's gotta be that one. So, I'll take traffic control. I suppose we're probably going to go into the downwind and then they'll eventually vector us onto the final approach, which is absolutely fine with me. It's only 5,000, that's the lowest altitude on the arrival, 210 knots over at beach. Now tell me again, we've got water, beach, and just behind that, something that's not really important, but water, beach. Why is there Pilgrim in between? I mean, yes, but when the beaches are nice, not, you know, with the cold water of the North Atlantic in Boston. In Miami they could do that. Nonetheless, I still find those names they do in the US really funny. Okay, talk about real funny though. Let's see if we can get a shortcut to the final. So, there's the field. Air Portugal 227, runway inside, request visual approach.
Air Portugal 227 cleared for the visual approach to runway 33 left at Boston.
Cleared visual 33 left, Air Portugal 227. Very nice. Thrust dial open descent heading. Activate approach phase. So, extend the center line, please. Let's do from Cohas on 33. What's the opposite? 130. Or not, that's fine with me as well. So, flaps 1, speed checked, and full speed brake. So, status page is checked. Then let's descend to 1500, that's where the approach eventually officially begins. And we're 2.5 miles from the final, let's turn right heading 300 and intercept the final. So, gear down. Just helping us a little here. Manage speed. Glass lobes coming alive. Lockstar, Cat 3. Oh, what's that? Autopilot disconnect. Okay. Probably because it flew into the VLS. Yeah. Okay. Glass lobe, localizer, Cat 3 dual, autopilot 1 and 2. Around altitude 3000
Airport
set.
227, contact Boston Tower on 128.8.
128.8, Air Portugal 227. Okay, flight director is doing nonsense. Okay, flaps 2. Speed checked, flaps 2. Boston Tower, Portugal 227, established 33 left.
Air Portugal 227, Boston Tower, winds 315 at 8, runway 33 left, cleared to land.
33 left, cleared land, Air Portugal 227. Okay, let's maintain that speed up here at 160 for a bit. What a lovely view. Look at this, Boston Airport. Just if the flight director had actually brought us onto the localizer and not wiggling around it, that would have been nice as well. Would have been a nice added bonus. Alright, flaps 3. And flaps full. Speed checked, flaps full. So let's maintain 160 until 4, which is basically now. Manage speed, landing checklist, ECA memo, landing no blue, landing checklist complete. And this pitch can never be correct here. That's a little very aggressive. Very, very aggressive. This is probably better. But it looks fantastic. I know, I'm setting the priorities right here. It looks fantastic. Who cares about flying the airplane? Just gotta get some good screenshots. It's social media after all. Who cares about flying or safety when you can get a good selfie? I mean, it does look fantastic, doesn't it? Safety, selfie, gas.
400.
Land.
100 above. Minimum.
Continue.
$100. 50, 40, 30, 20, retard. 10, 5.
Brake, max braking, max braking. Brake,
No.
max braking, max braking.
Absolutely not needed.
Brake, max braking, max braking.
Okay, let me show you what would happen if I did that.
Max braking.
Here we go. Max braking.
1,500 meters remaining.
See? We have more than enough runway.
Approaching 04 left.
So yeah, that runway overall warning system seems to be buggy then. Now I'm excited to see what that's done to our brake temperatures. Probably nothing good. Alright, vacated on November. Air Portugal 227, runway vacated.
Air Portugal 227, taxi to parking via taxiway Alpha Bravo. Contact ground on 121.75 when clear of the runway.
Parking via Alpha Bravo 12175, Air Portugal 227. We are clear of the runway. Okay. Temperature 32, so we'll leave the flaps in 1. And 2175. Boston ground, Air Portugal 227, taxiing to Echo 3. Okay, so Echo 3 is on the left there, or rather to the right of the JetBlue. Okay, Echo 3 is on the right hand side. Let's make sure we don't enter that gate too fast. Guidance system is on, A321neo is on there. Okay, A21N, that's correct.
JetBlue 365, ready for pushback.
And
JetBlue 365, push and start approved.
nice.
Pushback approved. JetBlue 365.
Brake set. APU bleed on, lights
JetBlue
off,
351, ready to taxi.
and APU bleed is here.
JetBlue 351, taxi to runway 4 right via Alpha Bravo.
Cabin crew, all doors and park.
4 right via Alpha Bravo, JetBlue 351.
Alright. So, engines running down, beacon coming off, they're disarming the slides. Parking checklist. Parking brake out shocks, brake set, engines off, wing light off, fuel pumps off, parking checklist complete. Alright, so, transponder, standby and 2000. Then fuel, used 14.6, 3.4 remaining, that looks pretty good. IRSs are okay as well, then we can turn them off. Here we go. Alright my friends, and that's all I can offer you for the day. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to leave your feedback in the comments underneath the video. As always, like, comment and subscribe, and if you really love what I'm doing on this channel, I would appreciate a small donation through the Buy Me Coffee link in the video description below. Thank you very much for watching, and I'm looking forward to see you all again on the next one.